hindbrain. So in the previous class, we were discussing about the forebrain and midbrain in detail. So in the previous class, we have discussed about the diencephalon, the limbic system, and the four lobes, corpora quadrigemina, and we have discussed about the cerebral peduncles. Now in this class, let us discuss about the hindbrain. Okay, so coming to the hindbrain, it is divided into three parts. The hindbrain is divided into three parts. The first part is called as the cerebellum. Okay, the first part is called as the cerebellum. The second part is called as the pons varolii. Okay, the second part is called as pons varolii, and the third part is called as the medulla oblongata. Okay, so the hindbrain, it constitutes of three parts. So they are cerebellum, pons varolii, and their other one is the medulla oblongata. So coming to the first part, cerebellum. So cerebellum, it is said to be the second largest. Okay, so it is called as the little brain. Okay, so the cerebellum, it is called as the little brain. Okay, so it is the second largest part of the brain. Hence, the cerebellum is called as the little brain. So, how is the cerebrum? This cerebrum, it's a bit solid in nature. Okay, the cerebellum is solid in nature, and it is made of three lobes. Okay, the cerebellum is made up of three lobes. Okay. And the two lobes, see, this one is one lobe and this one is other lobe. Okay, the two lobes are called as the broader two lobes are called as cerebellar hemisphere. Okay, they are called as the cerebellar hemisphere. Okay, and the middle part is the small vermis. Okay, the fissure-like part, it is called as the small vermis. Okay, the third lobe is the small vermis. So coming to the cerebellum constitutes of three lobes. Two larger lobes which are called as the cerebellar hemisphere, and in the middle we can observe the smaller lobe which is called as the vermis. Right, so coming to the cerebellum, we also know that the grey matter is in the periphery. Okay, the grey matter is in the periphery, whereas the white matter which is present in the center, it is branched. Okay, the white matter which is present in the center is branched, and it gives a tree-like appearance. Okay, it gives a tree-like appearance, and that tree-like appearance is called as arroba vitae. Okay, it is called as the arroba vitae. Right. So coming to the cerebellum, what is the function of cerebellum? See, what's that? It is mainly useful for maintaining the posture in your body. Okay, it's helpful for the maintenance of the posture, and also it gives the equilibrium in your body. See, for example, if you are seeing a person who has consumed alcohol, so will he be in the stable position? How will his walking will be unstable? His language will be unstable. It will not be stable. Then if you are talking about his posture will not be stable. So such consuming of alcohol will damage the cerebellum of the brain. Obviously, the person lose his equilibrium. Okay, the person lose his equilibrium. Right. So cerebellum, it is the main part which controls the posture and equilibrium in your body. Okay, so cerebellum, it is a control center for maintaining the good posture and the equilibrium in your body. So I hope you are clear with the cerebellum. The next part is called as pons varolii. Okay, so the pons varolii is oval in structure. So we have drawn the diagram. Okay, the pons varoli is oval in structure. Okay, the pons varoli is oval in structure. Generally, the pons varoli is very small and it obtains the size of 2.5 centimeters in its length. Okay, the pons varoli is around 2.5 centimeter in length. Right. So, where does this pons varoli located? Okay, so the pons varoli is located inferior to the midbrain. Inferior means what? Down part. Okay, inferior to the midbrain and superior to medulla oblongata. So, it is inferior to midbrain and superior to medulla oblongata and it is anterior to cerebellum. Okay, it is anterior to cerebellum. It is inferior to midbrain and superior to medulla oblongata. So, hope you are clear about the location. Right. So, what is the main function of the forebrain? See, forebrain, it coordinates this pons varoli, it coordinates the forebrain with the cerebellum. Right. So, this pons varoli has a major role in coordinating the forebrain with the cerebellum. Right. So, also this pons varoli is very useful for controlling of some involuntary actions. Like, so mostly the rate of respiration is under the control of pons varoli, right? The rate of the respiration is under the control of the pons varoli. So, coming to the pons varoli, it is oval in shape. It is inferior to midbrain, superior to medulla oblongata and anterior to cerebrum. So, its size is about 2.5 centimeters in length. It helps in coordinating the forebrain with cerebellum and also it supports the control of many involuntary actions. Right. And then coming to the next part. So, we have completed cerebellum and we have completed the pons varoli. Then coming to the medulla oblongata. So, coming to the medulla oblongata, the medulla oblongata consists of some roof-like structure. Okay, so the roof-like structure of medulla oblongata does not have any nerves. Okay, so they don't have any nerves, right? And this non-nervous part of the medulla oblongata consists of posterior choroid plexus. We have seen the anterior choroid plexus which is useful for the production of cerebrospinal fluid, right? And likewise, the lower part, the posterior choroid plexus, it is present in the roof part of the medulla oblongata, right? So, it is present in the roof part of the medulla oblongata. So, this is about, so coming to the functions of medulla oblongata. So, medulla oblongata is also the site of control unit of many involuntary actions, right? And then the sense of vomiting, okay, the control center of vomiting, the control center of deglutition. What is deglutition? The act of swallowing. Okay, so swallowing, then vomiting. Then what is that? It is the cardiac center. Okay, it controls the functioning of the heart, right? So it is the control center for the cardiac and also it controls the mechanism of respiration. So it also controls the mechanism of respiration. And also there is some special feature about this medulla oblongata, that is they act as a vasomotor. So what do you mean by the term vasomotor? Altering the diameter of the blood vessel. Okay, so altering the diameter of the blood vessel is called as vasomotor. So that vasomotor function, okay, that vasomotor function is controlled by this medulla oblongata. Okay, so what is vasomotor? Altering the diameter of the blood vessel. Okay, altering the diameter of the blood vessel is the function of this vasomotor, which is under the control of the medulla oblongata. So coming to the brain stem. So coming to the brainstem, so we should be very clear that the brainstem includes the parts of diencephalon plus midbrain plus pons varolii plus medulla oblongata, right, and cerebellum. Right. So all these parts right from the diencephalon comes under the brainstem. So you have to be clear that so in cerebrum and cerebellum we have seen the grey matter in the periphery and white matter in the center. In cerebellum also is the same case, but in case of the pons varolii and medulla oblongata, the white matter is in the periphery and the grey matter is in the center. So this is the point which you have to keep in your mind, right? So they will be asking for which of these statement is correct. In such questions, this points may be highlighted, right? So in the cerebrum and cerebellum, the grey matter is in the periphery and white matter is in the center, right? So in case of the pons varolii and medulla oblongata, the grey matter is in the center and white matter is in the periphery. So coming to the brainstem, these are all the parts come in which is included under the brainstem. Right. So coming to the brainstem, let me discuss some interesting things. Right. So this brainstem is having a special function called as reticular activating system. That is RAS. Right. This brainstem consists of a special type of a signals called as reticular activating system. It is a network of neurons. Okay, it is the network of neurons. Right. So what is this RAS? See, listen. If a teacher is teaching the class and if you are listening to the class what's that? You are immersed in the class and you are discussing. Right. And if some of the children by your side are disturbing you, the thing which you are concentrating enters into your mind, whereas the other things, the unwanted things which happens by side will not enter into your mind. If suppose if you are watching the television and if your mother is going on repeatedly calling your name to have your supper, you may not able to hear the sound of your mother as you are very busy with watching the movie. Am I right? So because if you are immersed in a particular work, the other things which is happening in your surroundings gets eliminated from your brain. That will be censored. Okay, so it acts as a sensory. Okay, it acts as a sense which input only the essential thing which you are concentrating. Okay, so such a wonderful system is present in the brainstem, that is called as reticulate activating system. Okay, so in the next class, let us take up with the structure of spinal cord. So kindly subscribe to Kriti's tutorial and share as much as possible. As I am telling repeatedly, education should never stop at one point, and let it share to all and let all get educated. Thank you.